Hey everybody, this is our third edition of our box kits. We're going to show you first what you're going to get in the kit. So you get about 2.5 to 3 pounds of clay. That'll be in a bag. You're going to be getting some bubble wrap, a plastic knife, and a heavy duty toothpick thing. So it's got a paddle on one end and a point on the other. So we'll talk about how to use that. Some things you might want to use are need a fork, everyday fork, maybe some masking tape. You'll also have this in your kit. You'll have a little rolling pin. You might need some newsprint or paper towels, and we'll talk about that as we go. And you're going to need a little bit of water. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our clay out of the bag and plop it down on the table. First thing we need to do is smash this down. And so literally with your hand or your fist, smash it down, get it to about an inch or so, and then get your rolling pin, okay? And you start rolling that out. If you ever make biscuits or something, this is the same thing. You gotta roll this out. What we're looking for is somewhere between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch thickness, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. You can flip this over, keep rolling. The first roll is going to be practice, so you can kind of figure out how to work with the clay. If it's sticking, you can add corn flour or cornstarch or flour or talcum powder. Baby powder works if you're having trouble with it being too sticky. But we'll roll this out. You can also do it in small amounts, so I rolled the whole thing at once, but you can do smaller pieces. But you'll see why in a minute. We're going to want to have it to be kind of long. Okay. What we're going to make today is a mug, and that's the goal, to make a mug. Notice I keep flipping this so that I can keep all the sides flat. So I want it as consistent and level as possible. One thing we could also use is a ruler, and I'll grab one of those in a minute. It's the exciting part. Maybe we'll skip over some of this. Alright, when I get it basically rolled out, and this is, like I said, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, so the thickness of your fingers, probably kid-wise, would be about right, the height of that. And you want it as consistent as possible. What we're going to do, the way we're going to make a mug, is we're going to be taking that clay and wrapping it around an object. Those objects can be almost anything. So today I'm going to be using an actual Little Mermaid cup to wrap it around. You can also use things like big dowels, toilet paper rolls, or a little small, so you might want something else. A Dixie cup or a Solo cup would work. So what we're going to do is we have to decide how tall we want our mug. So the height of your mug is actually the width of your slab. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to use my rolling pin to measure. I'm going to take it, and whatever my cut thing here is going to be the height of the cut. And I'll show you how. So with my fancy plastic knife, I'm going to make a line here. And then I make another line on the other side that's parallel. Okay? And once I cut this out, that's what's going to wrap around the object. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm going to use a little bit of water on my knife, and I'm going to cut down these lines. That. Separate the clay. Same with the other side. If you have a ruler, this will be good too. You can judge how much you want. Then what we're trying to do is we're going to get a piece of paper towel or a piece of newsprint, and we're going to wrap it around whatever object we're going to use. And this is so that it'll come off later. If you have trouble with it sticking or sitting on here, we can use a little bit of tape. So I'm going to use a tiny bit of masking tape. Stick it on there. So what I'm trying to find out is, will this wrap all the way around my cup, my this, as you can see. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this slab that we've made and wrap it around with newsprint on, or the paper towel on there. And what I want to do is get to that point where it's about to be touching, okay? Where they touch, we have to do what's called slip and score. What that means is we take our needle tool, little toothpick tool, or a fork, and we make some scratches. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch everywhere that these are going to overlap. Alright, so a nice X. You can get pretty deep with this. Okay, and then find out where the other side's going to touch, and then scratch that up too. So both sides need to be roughed up. Okay. So once we get that, we take some water. You don't want to get crazy with this, but a little bit of water on both sides where the scratches are. This is called slip and score. And then we're going to take and push these together. Not too tight, but we want that both scratch surfaces to match up and push together. Now at this point you've got a decision to make. You can keep the leftover clay on the outside as a design element, or you can cut it off. So I'm going to cut mine off. You can do whatever you like. Alright, so I'm going to take and scratch there. And be careful not to take too much off here. And get rid of that. Okay? So what we have is a seam. Okay? And that's what we're looking for. Okay? With that seam, what we want to do is take and smush and smooth out. And so I'm going to take my fingers and slowly work that down and smoothing that out. When we get to the inside, we'll also do the same thing with the inside to try to smooth that out. You can use a little bit of water, small amounts, to help smooth that out as well. Okay. Now with the clay we have left over, we're going to need it for a couple things. We need it for the bottom and for the handle. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take all this clay, ball it up, really compress it together. Okay. Okay, once we get it all together, we get to do the same process over again. So I'm going to smash this down. Okay. Roll that out some. We want this to be about the same width as the width of the cup, the thickness of the clay beans. If you get an air bubble in your clay, just pop it, go pop, and just smooth it back out afterwards. Okay. Once we have this rolled out, just double check it, make sure it's all smooth. What I'm going to do is take the cup, and the bottom should you should be able to see where the clay is, right, on the outside. I'm going to set it down on that slab we just rolled out. Okay. Now I'm going to take my little needle, my little toothpick, and draw a line around where that is. Okay. Then I'm going to take that back off, set it aside, and we can cut out. So I'm going to cut out. I can use this tool or I can use the knife, either way works. And we're going to cut out that circle. Okay. Alright, then we're going to take that clay away. Remember, ball this back up, you're going to need it again. And for this part, I would put it kind of back in your plastic until we get to the next part. Okay. Now with that little circle, we've cut out a little biscuit, right? We're going to do the same thing we did on the seam. We're going to scratch and attach. So we have to take our pointy tool and scratch all around the outside. Not the outside, but the top of the outside. Where actually our cup is going to sit on top of this. And we don't want to have it be around. We want to use gravity to our advantage and have this be attached that's right on top of this. Okay. Once I've got this scratched up, what do you think I have to do? I have to scratch the bottom side of the cup. Okay. Alright, so I'll scratch all around the top of this. Now I'm going to pick up my cup and scratch all around the bottom. Okay, just like we did before on the seam. The whole thing needs to be scratched up. Okay, remember this is clay. You can always smooth things back out. So even if you make mistakes or you have little lumpy parts, you can keep smoothing them out and that'll be fine. Alright, just like before, I'm going to get a little water put on here. Just want it to be damp. I'm not trying not to push down any of my scratching. I'll do the same with the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to take that wet bottom scratch cup and push it down on top of the thing we made. Then use my finger to smooth out around to seal those two together. Okay? Okay. Some of you at this point can take your object out. So it should slip out with the paper towel. If you're having trouble with that, you probably want to let it set up for about 10 minutes and then pull it out. I'm going to go ahead and try, see if ours can pull out. And it does. Okay. So at this point, everyone needs to take a break. And so what we want to do is we want to set our cup out and let it kind of just get dry for a little bit. When we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to finish the inside seam. We're going to smooth out the top, and then we're going to add a handle. All right, see you in a minute. All right, I'm back. What we've done is we waited long enough for our mug to dry a little bit. It just wants to set up a little bit. We don't want it dry necessarily, but when we touch it, we want to not have clay come off in our hands when we get there. So that will mean it's ready to go for the next step. Okay. First thing we want to do is address the inside. Right now, the inside has a seam that we want to smooth out a little bit. Okay. And so you can use your finger just to get in there and push that down and smooth that out. Some other tools you could use, paintbrush, dab it with a little water. You can get in there and smooth that out and make it all pretty. Okay, I like the finger, but you do whatever you feel like. Okay. So when we get that somewhat smooth, it's not going to be perfect, but we want it to be a little smoother so it's easier to clean, because these are going to be usable mugs for you to use. Okay, so my next step is to clean up the rim. Okay, the rim is where obviously you're gonna put your face, put your lips on so you can drink smoothly. Okay, there's a couple ways to do this. So you've got your water there. What you can do is you can take a little piece of plastic bag, okay, and kind of fold it over so it makes like a little ribbon. Okay, and you dip that into the water just to get it all a little wet. Then you fold that over the top of the rim and lightly just start rubbing it back and forth all around the top. Okay? And what that's going to do is make it nice and smooth and not rough on your lip when you're putting it up to your mouth. Okay? Plastic bag is one. You can also use paper towel that we've used before. Same thing, fold it over a couple times, dip it in the water. Okay. And then you have a damp paper towel. Okay, and you take that and swoop it right around. Use as little water as possible. We want it to be drippy at all. Okay, so we have a nice smooth rim. Okay, see how that's nice and smooth. Okay, mine's a little up on the side, but I'm going to use that as part of my design. So with where my handle goes. All right, so we've got a cup now. It's seamed, it's sealed. The rim is nice, and so our last thing is to add a handle. Okay. You don't have to add a handle, but you know, we've given you enough clay to add a handle. There's a couple of options. Okay, so our ball of clay that we've put away, we're going to roll that out just like we did before for one of the handles. Okay, squish that down, roll that out. I got an air bubble, so I'm popping that. Boop. Okay. So when we get that rolled out. Oh, my clay's sticky. Bear with me. Yep, there we go. Easy fix. Alright, so one of our first options is to just cut a shape out for the handle. Okay, so I've got this thing. So ears make a great shape for a handle. Most handles are actually kind of shaped like an ear. So I'm going to make an ear handle. So basically, you want to think about your ear and what that looks like. And I'm going to draw it. So okay, so that's about the shape of an ear. Not exactly, obviously, but you know, you get the idea. So you can make this solid, or you can make it hollow. I'm going to make the inside of mine hollow, and so I'm going to draw another half circle here. Okay, and so I'm going to cut all that out. Alright, so my knife, I'm going to cut around the outside. Then I'm going to cut down the straight part. Okay. And set this clay aside. Alright, so now I've got somewhat of an ear, but I'm going to cut that middle out too. So use my little tool. So now I've got this C shape, right? That's kind of like an ear, right? Or rainbow, whatever you want to think about. So with this, again, I want to let it set up a little bit. So I'm going to, magic of time, do this right away. But you want to set this aside and let it about 10 minutes and let that set up a little bit. You can smooth it out, make it pretty. So for us, what we're going to do is slip and score, scratch and attach like we've been doing. I take our pointy tool and these two ends that are going to attach to the cup, I'm scratching, okay, and this one, okay. Now I'm going to figure out where it goes in the cup. I like putting it on the seam because it kind of hides the seam, but you put it wherever you want. And so I'm looking at the cup, and there's the seam, and so I need to look at where that's going to be. So I'm going to make a mark here and here and here and here. And on the mug, on the cup, I scratch where that handle will go, okay? So scratch that up, double check, make sure that fits. It does, okay? So now I'm going to take a little water, just like we've been doing. A little water there, a little water here and here. And then I will attach. So hand on the inside, hand on the outside, push that in, and then push that in, okay? It might take you a minute to get this right, that's okay. So as this dries, you're able to take your finger, a little water, and smooth that out, make it nice and round and smooth. You can use that paintbrush like we talked about before to clean around the edges if it's rough, okay? That's one way to do a handle. Let's do one more, and I'll let you guys go. Alright, mine will be a sippy cup. So, with the clay I have left over, I'm going to pack it back up again. This time though, I'm going to roll it out like a snake, okay? So, roll this. Like Play-Doh. Okay? So if you want, you can check out one of Mom's coffee mugs out of the cabinet to see how thick to make this. Somewhere between ½ inch and an inch wide would be good. Okay, so I'll roll this out. I got my snake. Kind of smooth it. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off out there. Okay. So I've got this nice little snake worm tube thing, right? So as you can imagine, all I'm gonna do is bend this into that rainbow like we had before. Okay, the ear shape or whatever you want to call it. And that will attach just like the other did, okay? So if it's too long or too wide, you just cut off a little bit. So mine's a little too long. So I'll cut off a little bit. Okay. Then just like we've done before, I scratch both the spots that are going to attach to the cup. Then I measure on the cup where it's going to go. Okay. I think there would be good. So I'm going to make a little mark. Okay, I'm going to scratch there and there. Scratch. And scratch down here. Then a little bit of water. A little bit of water. Same here. Okay. Then just like before, I'm going to push the bottom and attach that. So I'm going to do the top. Okay. Alright, so now we have two handles on that one. Okay, both about the same shape, but in a different way to make them, right? So the only thing you have to do now is let it dry, wrap it up in your bubble wrap once it's dried a little bit, and then bring it back to Mighty Mud, and we'll get it fired for you. Make sure you chose a good color. Once these are fired, these will be fully functional. You're able to use them, you know, in a dishwasher, microwave, hot drinks, cold drinks. They work for anything. I hope you guys had fun. That's the whole point of this, especially since we're all cooped up. So